You're listening to Points Talk with the Travel Mom Squad, previously known as the Travel Hacking Mom Show. Follow the links in the show notes to stay up to date with what the Travel Mom Squad has been up to. We recently returned home from a trip to Hawaii where we island hopped between Kauai and Maui. We stayed at 2 amazing Hyatt hotels, and overwhelmingly the most popular question we keep getting asked is which one we liked the most. Keep listening to find out. Welcome to the Travel Hacking Mom Show. We are 3 moms who've discovered how to leverage credit card welcome offers to get hundreds of thousands of dollars in travel expenses for nearly free. We've used credit card points and miles to take vacations to places like Hawaii, Paris, Greece, the Maldives, Italy, and so much more. And the best part? We each still have an 800 plus credit score. Imagine being able to book a vacation without having to check your bank account. It's totally possible, and we're here to show you how. Hey, I'm Alex.
And I'm Pam, Alex's mom.
And I'm Jess. We are Travel Hacking Moms. Today, we are going to be covering the Grand Hyatt Kauai versus the Hyatt Regency Maui. Alex and Pam just got back from visiting both. I visited the Grand Hyatt Kauai in February. So we're going to have like a battle of the Hawaiian Hyatts going on. I'm not going to be able to chime in too much on the Hyatt Regency Maui because I have not been to that property before, but I will be able to give my opinion on the Grand Hyatt Kauai, and I guess we will see who the winner is at the end of the episode. So first, we're just going to talk about the hotels and how we booked them. They are obviously, like I said, both Hyatts, so we used Hyatt points to book them. They are both now Category 7 Hyatts, meaning that a standard award night is going to run you 30,000 Hyatt points a night, 25,000 if you were able to snag some nights off peak, and then 35,000 points a night for peak nights. So all 3 of us have both the Hyatt Personal and the Hyatt Business Card. We do use those for our Hyatt stays to rack up some points that way, but most of our Hyatt points actually come from other Chase Ultimate Rewards cards that we then transfer to our Sapphire Preferred and out to Hyatt. So we are going to include our Ultimate Guide to Ultimate Rewards in the show notes, and you can read that and check out all the different ways that you can earn Chase Ultimate Rewards points that can then be transferred to Hyatt and redeemed for some awesome hotel stays in Hawaii like these.
Also, another thing I'm going to put in the show notes is our guide to Hyatt points. So it has all the cards listed that earn you Hyatt points. The Ultimate Guide has that too, but we'll just put both of those in there so you have all the information you need to be able to, book a stay like this.
The other amazing thing about Hyatt is that you are not charged any sort of resort fees or taxes on award stays. And so for all 3 of us, our stays at these Hyatts were $0. Like no surprise fees tacked on, no resort fees tacked on, like literally $0 free stays at these resorts.
When we got through with each of these resorts, I showed my husband the bill. And basically, we do have globalist status, and that helps us with breakfasts and using the club lounges, which we'll talk about later. But he was shocked because here we stayed at these crazy nice hotels. And I think we had on each of our bills, it was like about $90 because it was just food around the pool or something. And he could not believe that we had stayed, that we'd had valet parking because we're globalists. We'd eaten so many other times there for free. We got upgraded rooms, and that was our bill.
Yeah, and these are not cheap hotels. These are like luxury resorts where these rooms, we went in February, you went for spring break in April. I'm guessing that just the standard rooms at these properties probably run $800 to $1,000 a night. And so you are talking incredible value for your Hyatt points by redeeming them at properties like these.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to start our comparisons here. First of all, let's kind of go over like the hotels themselves, like the rooms, the property, the layout. Let's start with the Grand Hyatt Kauai. And Jess, do you want to maybe kick that one off since you won't be able to share about the others?
Yeah, I really won't have much to say about the Hyatt Regency Maui, but the Grand Hyatt Kauai is beautiful, but it is also huge. And I have seen pictures of the Hyatt Regency Maui, so I'm gonna just go ahead and say, like, the Grand Hyatt Kauai seems to be built out, like, it's wide, and the Hyatt Regency Maui is more built up. And so the Grand Hyatt Kauai is enormous. You will get your steps in there. We I think I got like 15,000 steps on our first day there. We just For our first day, we always just kind of do a resort day where we're relaxing to adjust to the new time zone. And I think I got like 15 or 16,000 steps. And all we did was like stay at the resort. So that was basically just from like walking from our room to the lounge and walking from the lounge to the pool and walking back to our room. So it is a huge resort. And my mom came with us. We had 2 different rooms. So she had just a standard king room, and me and my daughter had a standard room with 2 queens. So you can, if you have a family of 4, you can get a standard room on points and get 2 queen beds, and, you could fit your family in just 1 room. We got connecting rooms because my mom wanted her own room because she knew my daughter would be waking up at like 4 a.m. due to the time change. So she got her own king room. But yeah, both of those are options for just the standard room.
And I think our rooms, Alex and I both got the same room, and I think they were a little bit different. I believe, did we have a king room and a double bed, was it, Alex?
No, it was a king bed and a queen bed. And then there was also a sofa bed, but the sofa bed was tiny. It was more like a sofa love seat almost. Like it would fit one person. It was like, yeah, it was like yeah. So it would just fit one person, but that was I didn't even know they had that room available there because like it's not something you usually see. It would be a really good one for a family. And that was an upgrade. We got upgraded to that room for having Globalist. So if you're booking with points, you can't just go ahead and book that room. You'd have to, be upgraded to it. But it was also very spacious, I felt like. Like, it wasn't like these beds are right on top of each other. There was plenty of room so there's 6 of us in my family. One of my boys slept in my parents' room. So there was 5 of us in a room, and there was plenty of room for the 5 of us in that one hotel room.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was, it was very spacious, and 100% agree with Jess in the layout of the Grand Hyatt. So there was a couple times everybody decided wanted to go to the lounge and get snacks, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not up for the steps right now. And I mean, it's a great way to get some exercise, but the layout of it, well, we're going to talk about pools and grounds later, so I was starting to go into that. But it is definitely a little bit of a walk, but it's a beautiful walk as you walk through everything.
Yeah. And I will also say that we discovered ways to kind of cut, like before we were like walking through the walkways of the rooms and it was very like windy. And we discovered if we just walked out we had a ground room floor. And so we discovered if we just like walked out onto our ground room and just cut across, it was like way faster. So there are ways to,
That's what we would do too. We were like, wait, why are we walking all around the hallways? Let's just cut off. So we would actually walk through the valet area and then cut like those corners. We'd walk outside and
yeah. So there's ways to cut down on it. But I mean, it is a huge property. There is no denying that. And you sent me pictures. It didn't look like your rooms had been updated, but they are currently in the process of renovating and updating all of their rooms.
okay, that's good to know because that was something I was going to bring up is my mom and I both felt like it is still really nice. Like the rooms are very nice and feel like luxurious, but they feel like old luxury. Like they don't they to me seemed like they need to be updated.
It's probably going to take a while, as you can imagine, because there are so many rooms, but I am hoping that by the time we have it booked again for March 2024, and I'm hoping by the time we go then that we'll get an updated room for that.
So have they started that or no?
They've started. The suites have been updated, but I think they just haven't updated all of the rooms yet. So
So I 100% agree. That probably was the thing that I felt was the most lacking. It's kind of a little outdated Hawaiian style to me. And that was the only thing that really kind of, disappointed me a bit. So Jessica, did you stay in the older room too then? Or
Yeah, we were in an older room, and I agree, like, I thought there was plenty of space, like, I and we just had it we weren't really I think we were technically upgraded to, like, a better view, but our room was still the standard size, but I still thought that even the standard room was plenty big for our needs, and so I'm really excited about the prospect of going back and having an upgraded room. So I'm hoping they get their act together and get it all done quickly.
Okay, well, that kind of is a segue into the Hyatt Regency Maui because they have updated their rooms, at least the rooms we stayed in. I'm not sure if they're all updated. I know I stayed there years ago and I wasn't that impressed with the rooms. And so when we went back there, when we walked in, I was like, whoa, this is nice. Because it was more my style, kind of a modern, clean lines. We got updated, my husband and I, because we have globalists, we got updated to an ocean view room, and it had a king bed, and then it had a huge couch that made into a bed. And so one of our grandsons liked to stay with us the whole time, and we loved having him there with us. And it was an incredible view, straight on view of the ocean when we woke up, and it was beautiful. Absolutely loved it. And then Alex had got even a better upgrade. Tell us about your room, Alex.
So our room, I had actually been trying to use like a suite upgrade award that I got from hitting my 60 nights. But by the time I got awarded my awards, the suite upgrades were gone. So I kept like looking, they weren't opening. And so about a week before the stay, I got an email from the hotel and I just let them know. I said, it's my son's birthday. It was actually his birthday when we checked in. I said, it's his birthday and I've been trying to, use one of my suite upgrades. There's nothing available. If there's any upgrades or suites available when we check in, like we would be so appreciative if we could get an upgrade. And I also emailed, like when you get Globalist, when you hit 60 nights, you get a concierge through Hyatt. And so I emailed her as well and let her know. So I was super excited. The morning we were leaving Grand Hyatt to go to Hyatt Regency Maui, I checked on my Hyatt app and I saw that they'd upgraded me to an oceanfront suite. So I hurried and checked in just to secure that I would make sure that they wouldn't give it away to anybody else, that it was mine. And the nice thing too is I also had emailed them and just let them know that my parents were coming to see if their rooms could be near mine. And so they put us right next to each other. And when we got to our room, it was so nice. The rooms, like my mom said, had been updated recently. It was you walk in and there's a living room, and on the TV, they had taken flower petals and written HBD, the number 11. They had left a card and they made him a cake out of washcloths and put ribbon on it. And then on the table, there was this basket with all these treats and snacks. And then there was table setting set up. And I was like, a table setting? What could we have here? So I opened our fridge and there was a birthday cake. So it was they went all out and oh yeah, and they had drinks waters and juices. So they went all out for his birthday and it was so fun. And I was just thinking, oh my goodness, this is how high it gets you. This is why when you get Globalist, you're I have to keep getting it because they just treated us so good. So then we also,
I have never heard of a whole cake. Someone got a whole cake with his name on it.
I mean, it was small. Still, it was a whole cake.
It fed us all.
It fed us all, yeah. And then we had so after the living room, in the living room, there was a pull-out sofa bed, a queen size, and then the king size bed in the room. The bathroom was nice because it had a shower and then also had a separate tub. So the room was amazing. We had these great views of the ocean. We had one small lanai and then a bigger one on the other side. So we had two areas where we could go outside, two separate balconies. So, I mean, for me, there was no question of which room I liked better because I got a suite and it was newer and updated. Yeah. I mean, I will say, like the Grand Hyatt Kauai, this room was really spacious. And so that was really nice. The suite is a little, like once you have the bed out, there's not a whole much more room. And then even in the master bedroom, it's not like there's a lot of space beyond the bed. So it is a little bit tighter, but it just still was really nice. Like having those ocean views, like we just would walk out and we're like at the beach. We didn't have to get in our 15,000 steps.
And having connecting rooms is huge for us when we travel together. And I have to agree with Alex that my vote on this is definitely the Hyatt Regency Maui. Now, that could change when we see the renovations at the Grand Hyatt Kauai. But for now, with the rooms, I mean, I didn't even get the suite. But I remember, and I was like, dang, I didn't get a suite because Alex did. I wasn't Globalist at the time. And so she did a guest of honor booking for me, which you can do when you're Globalist. So someone else gets, Globalist benefits when they're traveling. And that's a really cool thing to give to someone. So I didn't get all the treats that I probably would have if, and Jess is laughing because she knows I'm the girl of treats. So,
Pam is salty about not getting a cake in her room.
yes. Well, it was just the other treats. I was like, oh. And so I thought, well, darn, I wish I had been Globalist. I could have booked this myself. But when we walked into the room, I was like, I am not mad about this room. This room was huge. And so I didn't even care if I had the suite or not. And it's really fun when you're traveling with grandkids, because it's kind of funny because the first thing in the morning, they come over to our room, and several times during the day. And so you're listening to those little knocks. And I'm always trying to figure out which grandchild is that. I kind of have their knocks figured out so that I knew before I opened the door who it would be. But that was kind of fun. And it was nice at the Grand Regency. They didn't have to run so far to our room because we were about 10 doors down at the other one.
I also think that that's just a product of the Hyatt Regency being built up, is that there are a lot more rooms available with those ocean views because, like we said, in Kauai, it's more spread out. And so the floors don't go as high. I think the top floor in Kauai, I think there was only like 4 floors or something, And so I feel like the ability to have a true ocean view is like just a lot more limited. That there's like your chances of getting an ocean view there are just more limited by the fact that it's not as tall.
One thing I wanted to say too about the fact with or the Grand Hyatt being so massive is even though it is so big, and we were there spring break, so it's a busy time. I didn't feel like it was overrun with people where it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many people here. It felt, because it's so spacious, there's so many places for people to go that it doesn't feel super crowded. So I think like while you're going to be doing a lot of walking, there are some benefits to it being spread out like that.
I feel like we barely saw other people. Well, I agree with you that it felt like there were a lot of times where it felt like we had the place to ourselves. Obviously we didn't, but that's just the way it felt.
So my mom and I both voted for Hyatt Regency Maui as our top hotel for like the rooms, the style, and the layout.
I think that was instantaneous a vote for us the minute we walked into it.
Yeah, as soon as we got there, we both were like, yeah. Yeah. So now let's talk about the location and the beaches at both properties. So let's start with the Grand Hyatt Kauai.
So the Grand Hyatt Kauai is located in Poipu, which is on the south side of the island. It was about a 25-minute drive from the airport to get to the Grand Hyatt Kauai. And I will say, I think on both islands, you need a rental car. We get asked that a lot. And I would say you need a rental car on both.
I completely agree. This guy, actually on the beach, I overheard him talking to someone, and he was saying how they had just got back from Maui and they liked Maui so much. And here in Kauai, they didn't get a rental car. And I'm like, oh my goodness, especially Kauai. Like Kauai, like if we'll talk about this more, but like in Maui, you need one on whatever island you're going to because there's so many beaches, there's so many places to explore. But like the Grand Hyatt Kauai is kind of like at the end where there's not a lot of stuff around it. So if you're just not getting a rental car, you're really, 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 really limiting yourself, and it's not going to be that great.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, we did not walk anywhere outside of the resort. So, unless you want to just go to the resort and stay there, then I think a rental car is a must. So, yeah, 25 minutes from the airport, super easy drive. It is on the sunnier side of the island. So, the north side of Kauai tends to be a little bit hit or miss with weather. It tends to rain a bit more up there. And so, one of the days we actually went to the north side of the island and it rained the entire time. And so we left and we were like, we just need to go back to the Grand Hyatt Kauai. And we got to the Grand Hyatt Kauai and it was like sunny and beautiful. And so it's just kind of funny how there's like these microclimates on Hawaii where like one side of the island is sunny, the other side it could be pouring down rain. So I like that about the location of the Grand Hyatt Kauai. I will say that the beach is not swimmable outside the Grand Hyatt Kauai. So it is beachfront, like you can walk along the beach, but I just don't recommend swimming in the water there because it's really rough. There's a lot of waves. And so Poipu Beach is just a few minute drive down the road. That one is great for snorkeling. It's great for kids, super calm water. There's a playground on the beach. There are sea turtles that you can look at from afar on that beach. And so that one is super kid friendly and swimmable, and it's just down the road, but there is not a swimmable beach on the Hyatt property. For me, that is not a bad thing because I do not like to swim in the ocean. I like to look at the ocean and I like to walk along the beach. But as far as like actually swimming in the ocean water, that is not a huge priority of mine. And so that is not a deal breaker for me. The actual location is beautiful as far as sunrises go and sunsets. But the pro of the time change for me is that we were up super early every morning. So we got to see the sunrise from the Grand Club, like as we're eating breakfast, and it was beautiful. So I guess that kind of makes up for the fact that the beach is not swimmable.
Yeah, I think that we're kind of the same way. I too, I like the beach, but you know, it isn't a deal breaker for me. And actually in Hawaii, there's a lot of hotels that don't have really good beach access. We have a timeshare up in Princeville. Yeah, it's out of Kauai, the northern part of the island. And it is definitely rainier there. Many times when it's wet there, we go down to Poipu to find some sunny weather, go to Poipu Beach. But I would say that if you're going to have a rental car, and if you're going to the Grand Hyatt Kauai, you really should try to take a day to go up to the northern part. It is even more beautiful. It is even greener. Hanalei is the cutest Hawaiian beach town in the world. We did take one of our days and went up there, and luckily we had pretty good weather. We had maybe a few little sprinkles, but it worked out really well. And so I highly encourage anybody going to the Grand Hyatt Kauai to go up and check out Princeville and the cute town of Hanalei.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. I have like a soft spot on my heart for that part of the island, or that part of Kauai, because that was the first place in Hawaii I had ever been to, and I'd been there a few times growing up. And so it is just kind of a magical place. And we were really fortunate in the times that we have gone to my parents' timeshare that we had great weather. Now, the last few times I've been there, our weather hasn't been quite as great, but the day we went there, we had good weather. It started to rain when we left, so we got really lucky. I would have loved if the sun came out more because it just makes everything look even more pretty. But I would just echo what my mom said. It's so beautiful. You've got to like look at your app, look at the weather, and just try to find a day that's nice up there if you hit one, and make the trek up to the other side of the island. It's like just over an hour away. And I downloaded an app, which somebody on Instagram, someone DM'd me about it. It was the Gypsy Guide app, and it's like $12. And as you're driving up like to the north side and then on the way back down, you hit little landmarks or little places, and the narrator will tell you, like, oh, you drive off this way if you want to see this, or tell you some history and some facts about the island. So I thought that was really interesting, and it made the drive, like, not bad at all. And I would also say, like, have some stops along the way. We stopped at and got some shaved ice on the way back, and it made for, like, you got to do it too because you need to, like, see the island. Kauai is not very big. And so if you're just going to sit at the resort or stay at one side of the island, you're really missing out on a lot that Kauai has to offer. And Kauai is really unique than the other Hawaiian islands because it is so much more, like, slower paced. It's not near as busy. It's kind of like what people say, like, it's like old Hawaii. It's not as touristy. It's getting more and more of that a little bit, but it's just got a really special, unique feel to it than I think the other islands do.
Alex, where did we get those acai bowls on our way up? Those were incredible.
Yes, it's at a grocery store. I think it's Aneka's? Aneki's? I don't know. I have it in my story. I have it saved in a highlight reel on our Instagram account. If you go look at that, you can see the acai bowls we got there. It's right there in Poipu, and they are incredible. So you're going to want to get those. So I am different than the two of you, where my kids love boogie boarding and snorkeling, and they want to be in the ocean. And so the Grand Hyatt Kauai, we're going to talk about the pools and the grounds in a bit, but they have an amazing lagoon, which I think kind of makes up for the lack of the beach. But Hyatt Regency Maui does have a swimmable beach, and we could snorkel there. And it's just really, really nice when you have kids and they want to do that stuff where you don't have to get in the car to go and do that. You can literally just walk out of your hotel room. It doesn't need to be an all-day plan of, oh, we're going to go snorkeling today. It's like, oh, okay, I feel like snorkeling right now. I'm going to go out there for 15 minutes and see what I find. So that was really great to just be able to go right off the beach. So the Hyatt Regency is located on Kaanapali Beach. And so we could just walk right out there. They snorkeled. They saw tons of fish. They saw a turtle. One day they went and they just saw one turtle and they didn't really see any fish. The other day they saw tons of fish. So, you know, if you don't hit it great one day, it kind of fluctuates. So try again. But that for us made the beach kind of made Hyatt Regency better for my family because my kids love going in the water. The other thing that's fun about the Hyatt Regency is it's on Kaanapali Beach. There's like a bunch of hotels and a nice walking path, and you can walk by and see all the hotels. You can walk down to Whalers Village, which has like shops and restaurants. So it's just got like a kind of a happening place, and it's got like this fun vibe to it. I remember the first time my mom and I went to Maui a few years ago, and I hadn't been up in the Kaanapali area before. And I was like, oh, I don't really like this. Like, this is too busy. It feels too touristy. I don't really love it. And then we went and we stayed there a couple years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. Like, this is so convenient with kids. Like, oh, we want to go on a walk and walk down to the shops. Oh, we want to go get some dinner. We don't have to get in the car. We just walk out and we're at the beach. Like, not having to get in the car on vacation as often was fantastic because typically when we get in the car, that's when my kids start fighting with each other. So the convenience with kids, like the first night we were at Hyatt Regency, my husband and I were just like, this is so nice with kids, like to just have everything right there. So for me, location and beach, Hyatt Regency wins.
Well, and I think the other thing to remember is that it's right next to the Hyatt Residence Club. And we stayed there a few years ago, and that's a great place. And it has a huge grassy area in front of it. So I remember your kids and Grandpa and Mitch, they'd all go over there. They like to throw the ball. They like to play a little soccer. So it's another really nice place to go. We also went down to Black Rock Beach, which is still on Kaanapali out in front of the Sheraton. It had really good waves for boogie boarding. And so that was really nice. So yeah, it is. I'd have to say that as far as the location and beach, I vote for the Hyatt Regency also.
Yeah, I would say it depends on the type of vacation you're looking for. Like if I'm taking my kids, we're probably going to be going to Hyatt Regency now because the beach access and that area is just so fun for kids. But if it was just me and my husband, like we maybe would go back to the Grand Hyatt Kauai because it is like a more chill, relaxed vibe. So I think it really just depends on what kind of vacation you're looking for.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I by no means think the Grand Hyatt Kauai is bad with kids. I had my daughter with me and we're planning to go back and she was like, "This is my favorite Hyatt we've ever stayed at." And the thing I like about the Grand Hyatt Kauai is that it's like remote and there's not a ton of people that like you feel like you're in your own little world and you're not seeing a ton of people walk by and you're not like, so for me, that's a plus. But I'm also like an introvert and like being by myself and don't necessarily want to be around like a touristy area on vacation. And so again, I think it's just like going to depend on what you're looking to get out of your vacation.
Yeah, and I will echo what you said. The Grand Hyatt Kauai is still great with kids. Like, it's a fantastic property, which good segue into the pools and grounds because, spoiler alert, the Grand Hyatt Kauai has better pools and grounds than the Hyatt Regency Maui.
Oh, it's incredible.
I was gonna say like I've seen pictures of the Hyatt Regency pool and I saw the story about like people saving their chairs with towels and I was like, no, the Grand Hyatt Kauai is gonna win by a landslide on the pools and grounds category.
100%. It is absolutely breathtaking.
I even asked my kids and they were like, "Oh, we like the slide better at Grand Hyatt Kauai. Oh, we like the pool better there. Oh, I love the lagoon there." Like they get the vote from my kids too, not just from me.
So the Grand Hyatt Kauai pool is huge. Like Alex said, there is a slide. There are like a ton of different areas in the pool. Okay, so the very first time we ever went to Hawaii, we stayed at Kaloa Landing, which is a Marriott property, but we had dinner at the Grand Hyatt Kauai. And then after dinner, we walked out and the first thing we saw was the pool area. And I was like, we are staying here next time. Like, this is amazing. And so it has like different levels. Like there's an adult only pool at the top level. And then there's like waterfalls and hot tubs sort of like sprinkled throughout. And then there's a lazy river, more of like a sports pool, I guess. There was like a volleyball net. And then there's a slide and the lagoon at the bottom. And so there's a lot going on.
And the lagoon is huge. So big. Like we loved the lagoon. That's where we were like, we would always sit down by the lagoon. And then the kids would go up if they wanted to like go in the hot tub or go on the lazy river, go on the slide.
Yeah, and I think, like you guys said, for me, I hate having to get up really early or send my husband out really early to save a lounge chair. In fact, I hate that whole concept that you can save lounge chairs, but you have to at some places. But at this place, you don't have to. It's not a problem. There are always chairs. I like something to be in the shade, and we could always find a nice lounge chair in the shade, and that's huge for me.
No, I was going to say, it's funny because we reserved a cabana at the pool at the Grand Hyatt Kauai for our first full day there because I was worried. I was like, oh, I want to make sure that we have shade and I want to make sure that we get a spot. And then we go out there and the cabana was fine. It was nice, but I would not reserve one again because like 12 o'clock rolls around and there are still plenty of open chairs, open umbrellas. And I am like, we really did not. And we had been out there since like 8 a.m. because of the time change, And so I was like, we really did not need this cabana. So that, I agree. I think that's one of the nice things is like the pool area is huge. There's tons of spots to sit, tons of umbrellas, and you can really go out any time of day and find a spot.
Yeah, I totally agree. So with the Hyatt Regency Maui, they have like one big pool and it has like a cool waterfall that comes down and then you can actually swim underneath and it's like you go underneath the rocks and then they have a bar underneath there where you can like order food and drinks. And then it connects, you can keep swimming under the rocks and you get to like the kids pool area. And the kids pool has like a tiny smaller side for little ones. So like my 2.5-year-old loved that. And then they have like little turtles or big turtles out there, like, little ceramic turtles to climb on and a little splash pad. And then they have a huge slide that comes out from the back, and then a really cool bridge that goes across. So you can like walk across this rope bridge, and that's a really cool looking thing. But it's not that big for how big the resort is. So if we were going out there, like we would go get breakfast, go out to the pool, 7:30, a lot of the seats are already taken. And we found them every day, but it's not like the Grand Hyatt Kauai. Like you're gonna have to get out early if you want a chair. And I've heard that from multiple people. It wasn't just our experience. But the nice thing about it is, like my mom said, the Hyatt Regency is right next door, and they have a bunch of pools there too. And they have a smaller water slide, but like younger kids would enjoy it. And they have a bunch of pools, and the seating over there is really easy to find. Like, I don't know why more people don't go over there because the pool's really good. The views of the ocean are really good from there. So we would do that sometimes. Like when we actually stayed at the Hyatt Regency Maui, at the Hyatt Residence Club, we didn't even go over to the Hyatt Regency Maui pool, except like we'd walk over there and just stand over there while the kids played for a little bit, and then we'd go back to our pool at the Hyatt Residence Club. So if you're going there and you don't want to have to worry about fighting people for chairs, just make it really easy on yourself and go to the Hyatt Residence Club and use the pools there.
That is really cool that you get access to both. So that's the hack. Use your points to stay at the Hyatt Regency and then walk over, because I think the Hyatt Regency is also much easier to find award availability at. So stay there and then just walk over to the Residence Club for the pools.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the people at the Residence Club go over to Hyatt Regency because they're like, oh, my little kids want to like play in the little sandy pool area. And I don't think that many people from Regency are going over to Residence Club. So I think that's why the Regency is so much busier, is because you have other people going over there. But the grounds at Hyatt Regency are really nice though, like really green, pretty flowers. They have a path where you can like walk down and you can see flamingos and swans and ducks. So we really like doing that. I think the grounds are beautiful. It's just smaller and not as like sprawling and massive as Grand Hyatt Kauai.
I think something we probably should have mentioned at the beginning of the episode is these are both luxury resorts in Hawaii. So like you really can't go wrong either way. One may be a better fit for your family or whoever or yourself, but they're both amazing resorts. So even though we have like winners, they're both still great.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like comparing a really good chocolate cake against a really good strawberry cake. Of course, there's me getting into the treat comparison again,
Okay,
Jess.
so we all agree that as far as pools and grounds go, the Grand Hyatt Kauai is the winner, but the Regency Maui is not bad by any means. All right, what about clubs? The Regency clubs, the restaurants, the poolside service. I want to hear what y'all thought. I will go first for the Grand Hyatt Kauai, and then I want to hear how it compares to the Regency Maui. So if you are a globalist, or if you book a club access room, or if you use a club lounge access certificate that I think you get when you hit 20 Hyatt nights in a year, you can access the Regency Club. And they have food all throughout the day at both locations. And so it's like they have breakfast in the morning, in the afternoon they have snacks, in the evening they have hors d'oeuvres, and then they have desserts at the very end of the day. And as we all know, food in Hawaii is very expensive. So being able to offset those food costs by accessing breakfast and snacks and desserts in the club lounge is a huge money savings. I will say that I was underwhelmed by the lounge food at the Grand Hyatt Kauai. I think that you just need to like have your expectations set. It is a buffet. I am not a huge buffet fan in general. It was fine and it was convenient, and it saved us a lot of money by not having to pay for breakfast. But it was very just standard, like scrambled eggs, bacon, fruit, yogurt, cereal, pastries. They did have a really good latte making machine that I loved and visited frequently throughout the day. So while Pam is like going back for her snacks, I am going back for my lattes throughout the day at the latte machine. So that saved us a lot of money by me not having to pay for coffee. But yeah, I mean, it's not really as great as you would expect from a luxury resort. I get that like the resort is huge. Like Alex and I talked about this, like they're preparing food for the masses there. And so it's very much just like grab and go standard breakfast, probably on par with like, I mean, Alex compared it to a Hyatt place. I'm going to say it's like a little bit better than a Hyatt place.
Here's what I think of the Hyatt Place comparison. Is Hyatt Place at least has like pancakes or waffles, and the Grand Hyatt didn't have either one of those. And some days they wouldn't have bacon. So it's like they would either have like bacon or potatoes, and then they would have one type of eggs. And one day it was like an egg white thing that just looked a little creepy, so we didn't eat it. And so it was just like things were just different. It wasn't as like Jess said, there's a lot of very standard things, but the main items would be like bacon or potatoes, which was great. But they didn't have both. It was never like, oh, you can have bacon, potatoes, and eggs. And I kind of feel like you should have bacon every day at a hotel like that.
I agree. And I think Jess made a really good point when she said, just know ahead of time that this is, although you're in a luxury hotel, this isn't luxurious food. And I think that was probably my biggest disappointment, because with globalist status and getting that, I'm thinking it's going to be comparable to when I order off a menu with globalist status at other hotels, say like the Hyatt Regency Huntington Beach, where we had this crazy good meals. And I'm expecting it to be on par with that. I think at both of these locations, number one thing that disappointed me was the food there. Though now it was nice to be able to go in and get a free Diet Pepsi, although I like Diet Coke better. I wish Hyatt's did Diet Coke, but to be able to get that, to be able to, when you have children, it's huge to be able to save on money with their breakfasts and their lunches and their snacks. So it saves so much money, but going as a couple, and if you think you're going to get this great food, you'll be disappointed. If you think you're going to save on some food by getting a free breakfast and a few snacks, I'd say their muffins, their pastries were really good. Then you're gonna be disappointed if you think you're going to get, amazing food. But it does save a family so much money.
Yeah. And I did have some really good mango carrot bread in the Grand Hyatt Kauai. I like had 2 pieces and then I took some for later because I was like, this is amazing. They also have chocolate muffins you have to ask for them, but they have them and my daughter was obsessed with those.
Well, you should have told me about that ahead of time.
Yes, because we would pick the nuts out of our banana nut muffins that were also amazing, but we don't like nuts, Alex and I, so we would pick around them, but they were really good.
So my daughter is really easy to please. Like Hyatt Place breakfast is probably her, like we have been to Hyatt Regencies, Grand Hyatts, Park Hyatts, Thompsons, and she will eat the most out of Hyatt Place. Like she just wants scrambled eggs and some cereal. And so she was very happy to be at the club lounge at the Grand Hyatt Kauai, and she really liked their cookies and like the desserts at night. But I have a little bit more refined taste when it comes to breakfast, so I agree that I was disappointed with the options. My mom actually really liked it. She had like a bagel and salmon and like capers in the morning, and she thought it was great. But I was, having a little bit of like, oh, I wish this was a little nicer.
What did you think about the hors d'oeuvres in the evenings?
We actually didn't go. We ventured. We never had like the hors d'oeuvres because we were always off property during or we were having dinner like one night. I'll get into this in a bit, but like one night we had reservations at a restaurant at the property. So we were never around during the hors d'oeuvres time. So I don't really know what those were like.
I didn't think they were great. I felt like they were like the breakfast, but this was my thing with the Grand Hyatt Kauai is I felt like there weren't as many kid-friendly options. Like like, for example, Hyatt Regency Maui, they had pancakes or waffles, and Grand Hyatt did not. And so I don't care about it because I don't really eat that, but we all liked the breakfast better at Hyatt Regency Maui for that reason. There wasn't as much of a selection probably, but what they had was more food that we would normally eat, I guess I could say. And every day they had like a protein, like bacon or sausage. It wasn't like you only are getting eggs for your protein. There was other options too. The Hyatt Regency Maui though, at their hors d'oeuvres, appetizers and snack stuff, they had really good kid options. So they had macaroni and cheese one night, and like it was actually really good. I don't know if anyone gets the Sam's Club mac and cheese that's like that they make back there, but it tasted like the Sam's Club mac and cheese, and my family really likes that. So it was really good. They had that, and then they had like they always had good fruit. They had like a taco salad bar, just like really simple things, but like that are most people are gonna like. And I felt like some of the like evening food at Grand Hyatt Kauai was more, I don't know, if you're a little bit of a picky eater, it just was more quote unquote fancy, but still food for the masses. Like it wasn't fancy food, but it was like a different style. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The food at the Hyatt Regency was more kid-friendly and just kind of a little simpler. I thought that the spacing in the lounge was better. It was easier to get the food. I felt really crowded in the one at the, Grand Hyatt, Kauai, and I think that with both of those, well, more so the Grand Hyatt Kauai is I thought that the lounge was very small. It was hard for us to find seating. The outdoor seating wasn't very big.
Yeah, for how big that hotel is, I feel like that should have been bigger.
Yes, I was surprised that it was so small.
If you're there at 6:30 when it opens, like we were, because we had been up since 5 a.m., then it's not hard to find a seat.
The other thing that I liked about Hyatt Regency Maui is when you're sitting outside to eat, the ocean views are really, really nice. It's really, really pretty. Grand Hyatt's pretty too. It's just the ocean is further away, so you can't like see it as well. So this is really random, but I just want to know if you noticed this, Jess. But at Grand Hyatt Kauai, they have a water machine, and it has like you can choose flavor, so you can get flavored water from the machine. I loved that. Like that was my favorite thing.
Okay, this is how boring I am. I never got a flavor. I just got regular water.
Oh my gosh, you were missing out. I was like looking them up and being like, how could I get one of these in my house? This is so nice. Because I'm not like a big soda drinker. So for me, I'm like, oh, the flavored water was where it was at. And so we like every time I would take a cup of water to go. And I loved that.
And you're also not a coffee drinker? See, I was more focused on like getting my latte, and then I would just like fill up my water cup with just regular water. But the water machine was really nice, I will say.
So one thing that we didn't do, we did not, Alex, I don't think we went to any restaurants and sat down and ate at the Grand Hyatt Kauai at all. And then at the Hyatt Regency, we did go to, we'd go to the outside restaurant for lunch.
Yeah, it's just a pool bar, but you can sit down.
And it was really good. They had really good fish tacos, and we really liked that. But because we had access to this lounge, even though we weren't in love with it, we did take advantage of it. And we actually, I don't think we ate many dinners because we took advantage of that food, and then we weren't very full.
And we always had like a late lunch, so we weren't like super hungry. And I also feel like when you're on vacation in the sun, like I'm just not as hungry when I'm in the sun all day.
Well, I will say that I ate at almost all the restaurants at the Grand Hyatt Kauai, so I can chime in on them.
We did eat at one last time. We ate at Seaview Terrace, and that was really nice. The views there are incredible. So pretty.
So Seaview Terrace is the one that we ate there twice, because at night they have live music every night from I think 5:30 to 9:30. And they have a kids menu. So we would just go have dinner there, and we would look at the ocean and listen to the live music. And my daughter declared their triple-decker grilled cheese to be the best grilled cheese she's ever had. So they get props for their triple-decker grilled cheese. I did not try it, but I trust her. We also had dinner at their more fine dining restaurant called Tide Pools. I will say if you are interested in eating there, you should make a reservation in advance because it does fill up. The views there are amazing. It's like you're sitting on a pond, basically. And so it's really cool. The food, oh my gosh, we went there for my mom's birthday dinner, and the meal that I had there was the best meal I had in Hawaii. And we ate out a lot. But like I said, fine dining, pricey. You need a reservation ahead of time. So that was the best meal we had on Kauai. And then we ate by the pool for lunch a couple times, and I thought the pork nachos were really good. Alex recommended those.
Do you know what? I didn't like them this time.
No.
I know. Like, they just weren't as good as I remembered. I'm like, did I, like, you know, when you talk something up in your mind and you're like, maybe I just had too high of expectations.
So yeah, I can't compare. I will say, like, hearing that the Regency had like mac and cheese, but I am assuming the Grand Hyatt didn't have mac and cheese because you would have seen it when you went there.
It did not. It did not have, like, kid-friendly. It had, like, Korean chicken wings the night we went, which my older son liked. He ate those, but, like, you know, mac and cheese is what most little kids are going to like.
Yeah. No, my daughter would have been all over that. And I agree with you. It does sound like the offerings were better in the club there, like with having the pancakes or the waffles. They did not have those when we were there.
One thing that I liked more about the Grand Hyatt Kauai is for lunchtime, like, we would eat lunch by the pool. You know, whenever we were there at lunchtime, we ate at the pools. And the Grand Hyatt Kauai kids meal was great. Like, I don't remember how much it was. I want to say maybe like $12. And it came with a side and a drink. And it was a good amount of food. Like, I was like, you know, for resort food, I didn't think that was too bad. But at Hyatt Regency Maui, it was like $14. One of my sons got mac and cheese. And it literally came with a bowl of mac and cheese, like Kraft macaroni and cheese for $14. And he got that exact same meal at Grand Hyatt Kauai, and it came with fries and a drink for $12. So that made me be like, okay, I think the kids menu over at Grand Hyatt Kauai was better. It was cheaper and it came with more stuff. I mean, and it was weird because some of the other things, like, my other son got chicken nuggets and it came with fries, and one got like fish and it came with rice and vegetables. So it was just weird how not everything came with sides. And it would have been nice if they came with a drink. So I was like, okay, Grand Hyatt won in the kids meal category.
So maybe with this one, I think for sure the Regency wins as far as the club lounge goes, but it might be more of like a tie / maybe a little bit more in favor of the Grand Hyatt for other meals.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
I'd say so too. And again, you know, even though these are such subjective opinions that we're giving, you know, it'd be really interesting to hear from some of our listeners that have been there, to hear what their thoughts were, is what their favorites were, because this is just what we experienced at the time that we went there. And again, Alex and I are there it's a very busy time. It's spring break. And a lot of things can change depending on the time of year that you go to.
I remember when I was at the Grand Hyatt, or after I came back, I had posted in the Travel Hacking Mom Stories a question box, and so many people asked, like, which one is better, Grand Hyatt Kauai or Hyatt Regency Maui? And, you know, I was like, I can't comment on the Hyatt Regency, but I put up another question box that was like, if you've been to both, which one did you prefer? There were definitely split opinions, but I would say 60 to 70% probably said Grand Hyatt Kauai. And so it's just, like you said, it's so subjective in like what kind of vacation you're looking for. And like we said, they're both amazing and you probably can't go wrong. And like now I really want to go to the Hyatt Regency Maui so I can actually, I really want to go to the Andaz Maui.
I do too. I think, and I agree with what you said, like, I've had people DM be like, who've been to both, and like, oh, Grand Hyatt is so much better. Like, they just think it's so much more luxurious. And I would agree that it's a more luxurious stay. But for myself and my family, if we're going back, which we will go back, we would choose the Hyatt Regency Maui first. Actually, do you know what we would do? We would choose the Hyatt Residence Club first because we could have more room. So if we find availability, that's where we're going to go. Because you just can't beat having the 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, washer and dryer and all of that. But I mean, they're both fantastic properties, and I'm with you. When I go with my husband next, it's just us. We're going to we're going to the Andaz Maui, another Hyatt property in Wailea on Maui. Beautiful place. We love that area as well. So I'm for sure going to go there. But if I'm bringing my kids, we're going to go to Hyatt Regency Maui or Residence.
Before we started this conversation, I thought I was definitely picking Hyatt Regency. Now hearing that the Grand Hyatt is getting updated, renovated rooms, I'm split. I am, it's like either one of them. Take me to either one of them. I'm a happy camper.
But Pam, you like to hotel hop. So you need to do a Hawaii where you go to like Grand Hyatt Kauai, Andaz Maui, Hyatt Regency Maui. We need like a Pam hotel hopping Hawaii series. And then we can compare them all. It's funny though, because after we left the Grand Hyatt Kauai, my husband wasn't with us. And I was like, I want to come back next year and bring your dad. How do you feel about, going to Grand Hyatt Kauai for a few nights and then going over to Maui and she was like, no, I want to just do Grand Hyatt Kauai. And I was trying to talk it up, but she is very opinionated and she is very like, once she finds something she likes, she is like, no, this is my place.
She sounds really loyal.
So I am going to have to, so next time we go, we're just going to do Grand Hyatt Kauai again. But then after that, we're going to do Maui the next time.
Yeah. And then split it. Do Andaz and do Regency. But do Andaz last because that's going to be the best.
And I just want to say one more thing is that we island hopped and it sounded like a great idea. So we could go to both. And I think it still is a great idea if you've got 10 days to 2 weeks. I felt like we didn't get as much time as I would have liked at the Hyatt Regency because we stayed longer at the Grand Hyatt. That travel day takes up a lot of time. And so, I have definitely island hopped before, but usually I stay a week one place and then go a week another place. I think the only mistake we made was we were 3 nights. We were 4 nights and 3 nights. That's a little bit too short, I feel like, for island hopping.
Yeah, I agree. I would have done 4. I think 4 and 4 is doable and you'll be fine. 4 and 4.
I mean, it's for us too, coming from Houston, the time change, like the thing is by the time we get acclimated to the time change, then it's time to change resorts, and so I kind of, and Pam, I'm not the hotel hopping kind of gal like you are. So I agree. Like if we had 2 weeks and could do a week at each, then that would be ideal. But unfortunately, my husband and daughter can't miss that much school. So we'll do 1 week in Kauai in March, and then we'll go back later and do another week on Maui and see what I think. So after hearing how Pam and Alex feel about the Hyatt Regency Maui, I'm thinking I need to plan a trip there for myself and do my own comparison. If you want to do the same, check out our course, Award Travel Academy. Not only will you join our community of travel hackers and learn the ins and outs of travel hacking, but you'll also get our ultimate guide to Hawaii on points, which shows you step by step how you can earn the points and book a trip to either of these Hawaii resorts. To learn more, visit the link in the show notes. Thanks so much for listening to the Travel Hacking Mom Show. Make sure to hit the subscribe or follow button from wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. Want to start jet setting even faster? Follow the links in the show notes to learn about everything we discussed in today's episode. And to stay connected and follow along, follow us on Instagram at Travel Hacking Mom. We can't wait to see where in the world points and miles take you.